How did this fedora-wearing professor end up trekking across the entire planet? From his early days teaching history to his later years as a government agent, Indiana Jones has had an incredible life full of adventure. We recap the complete Indiana Jones timeline, and this video is the only thing you need to prepare for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the final installment in the franchise. Like any complete story, we have to start at the very beginning with the young Indiana Jones Chronicles, and unlike the other, movies, this isn't a movie. It's in fact a TV show that aired after The Last Crusade, but chronologically comes first. Confusing, I know. Anyways, this series is framed as an elderly Indiana Jones reminiscing about his past adventures, providing a glimpse into his formative years and the events that shaped him into the iconic archaeologist audience know and love. The episodes are structured as a combination of flashbacks and present-day reflections, highlighting Indy's encounters with historical figures and significant events of the early 20th century. Indy's adventures take him to places such as Egypt, India, Africa, Europe, and America, giving us a diverse range of cultural and historical context. Throughout the series, Indy interacts with notable personalities like Theodore Roosevelt, Pablo Picasso, Albert Einstein, and many others. Indy visited Paris during the 1920s, where he became involved with the artistic community and encountered figures like Ernest Hemingway and Gertrude Stein. In another episode titled Ogana the Giver and Taker of Life, Indy travels to Africa during World War I, where he witnesses the devastating impact of the war on local communities and learns about the importance of cultural understanding and empathy. But now it's time for the real thing. Get this idea in your head. The year is 1935, and like any great movie, this one starts with a dance montage. That's right, it's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Han Solo, Indiana Jones, is in Shanghai, China, and he meets with a criminal boss by the name of Lao. Lao puts poison in Indy's drink, and Lao's son shoots Indiana's friend Wuhan. Yes, like the virus, and that's when the chaos starts. To make a long story short, Indiana escapes along with one of the dancers, Willie Scott. With the help of his getaway car driver, Short Round, Indiana gets to a cargo plane which actually turns out to belong to Lao, and the pilots jump ship and crash the plane in the Himalayas. Yeah, so things aren't starting off great for them. After they escape the plane, they end up in India. Shout out to our Indian viewers. In the village they end up in, Indiana learns that his journey home is going to get a whole lot more difficult than it already has been. Basically, there's a palace called the Pankot Palace, which is in northern India, and an evil had spread from the place across the entire country, and it took a sacred stone of Shankara from the village Indy ended up in, and this caused an entirety of bad things to happen to the village. But the last thing they tell Indiana Jones is that the evil stole their children, and so Indiana decides to go to Pankot. When they make it to Pankot Palace, they're greeted by Chatar Lal, the Prime Minister of the Pankot Maharaj. They are introduced to the Maharaja, who's just a child. After one of the Maharaja's men attacks Indy, Indy goes to Willie's room and discovers a secret passage with a message that says, "Follow in the footsteps of Shiva. Do not betray these truths." Indiana and Short Round decide to explore the passage, and they discover a ritual to an evil god named Kali. And at the ritual, they have the Shankara stones, including the one from the village. Indiana goes after the stone and successfully gets it, but Willie and Short Round get taken. Indy also discovers the missing children, who are working in a mine digging for the last two Shankara stones. Indy, Short Round, and Willie gather the stones and set free all of the children. After fighting and escaping from the Pankot men, they go on what looks like a roller coaster ride, and then a tsunami, and Willie and Short Round attempt to cross an old wooden bridge over a river full of crocodiles, but they make it over. Except they're surrounded by the Pankot men, and Indiana's brilliant escape plan is to cut the bridge in half with a sword. It works though, so it's all good. Indy returns the children and the stone to the village, and everything's happy. Then comes Raiders of the Lost Ark, which takes place in 1936. We see Indiana Jones as a professor. Jones is met by some government men, and they tell him that the Germans are after the Lost Ark, which is the Jewish Ark of the Covenant, which holds the 10 Commandments. In the Bible, the Ark held the ability to level literal mountains, and so Indy is off once more and goes to Nepal. He meets with this woman named Marion, who has this medallion that Indiana wants, and he's willing to shell out the big bucks for it. The Germans get to Marion right after Indiana does, and they aren't as nice to her. In the last moment, and this will be a reoccurring theme by the way, Indiana steps in and saves her. Together they fly to Cairo, Egypt. A chase ensues, and Marion gets captured in the chaos. The truck she's captured in explodes and Marion is killed. Indiana meets with an evil archaeologist named Belloc, and he wants to use the Ark to talk to God. The Germans are using the Egyptians to dig for them to find the Ark, and one of these guys is Indy's friend, Salah. Indiana sneaks into the German map room, and using the, map, he figures out the correct location. In the German camp, he also learns that Marion is still alive. Salah and his Egyptian digging friends help Indy dig at this spot, and they strike gold. Not literally, of course. They strike snakes, Indiana's extremely rational fear. They discover a stone tomb of sorts, and inside it is the Ark itself. Suddenly, Belloc and basically the entire German force show up, take the Ark, throw Marion in the hole with Indiana Jones, and seal the hole with all the snakes inside. But I mean, it's Indiana Jones, he's gonna find a way out. And he does, and they discover the Germans are gonna fly the Ark on a plane to Berlin, but it's a decoy. Salah tells them that the Ark is actually on a truck heading to Cairo. Indy jumps on a horse and starts going after the truck. Somehow his horse catches up to the truck and he hijacks it. Indiana shows off his driving skills and takes out almost every single German soldier in the truck. Indy manages to get the truck to Cairo and hides with the help of the Egyptian workers. Indy and Marion say goodbye to Salah and get on a pirate ship sailing to England. But just as Indiana and Marion are getting settled in, the Germans show up on the ship and they take back the Ark and Marion. Indiana hops aboard the German U-boat as they travel to their base. However, Indy gets captured and the Germans perform a Jewish ritual with the Ark before opening it to reveal sand. However, the sand reveals spirits or something, which completely obliterates the Germans in the most gruesome way possible. At the end of the movie, the US government sends the Ark to a warehouse with tons of other government collections. The final film in the adventure, known as the Indiana Jones trilogy, is The Last Crusade. Well, was the last film, because then they made Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and now they're making Dial of Destiny. The story begins with a young Indiana Jones on an adventure in Utah, where he discovers a medallion that holds clues to the whereabouts of the Holy Grail. Fast forward to 1938, Indiana is approached by Walter Donovan, an American businessman who informs him that his father, Dr. Henry Jones Sr., an esteemed medieval scholar, goes missing while searching for the Holy Grail. Indy receives a package containing his father's diary, which contains vital clues for finding the Grail. Indy sets off to Venice, Italy, where he meets Dr. Elsa Schneider, a beautiful Austrian archaeologist who helps him decipher his father's diary. They uncover a hidden map that leads them to the location of the Holy Grail, hidden in the canyon of the Crescent Moon in the deserts of Hatay. I think that's how you say it. Indy and Elsa find themselves pursued by the Nazis, who are also after the Grail's powers. They manage to escape Venice and journey to Hatay, where they encounter the sinister Nazi officer Colonel Vogel and his men. At least I think that's how you say his last name too. Indy, along with his father and Indy's friend Sulla from the Lost Ark, confront Vogel and the Nazis in a thrilling battle involving tanks, motorcycles, and daring maneuvers. As they reach the canyon of the Crescent Moon, Indy must pass 3 challenging tests to reach the hidden temple where the Grail is believed to be kept. These tests involve trials of faith, with the last one presenting a leap of faith across a seemingly bottomless abyss. Indy must choose wisely among a collection of cups to find the true Holy Grail, while Donovan, driven by greed, chooses poorly and meets a gruesome fate. While defending the Grail, Indy's father is shot. He uses the power of the Holy Grail to heal his father. The movie ends on a high note with Indy and his father riding off into the sunset, having successfully thwarted the Nazis and preserved the power of the Holy Grail. In 2008, nearly 20 years after The Last Crusade hit theaters, fans were surprised with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which we thought was going to be the final installment, but we were wrong once again. The story begins with a daring escape as Indy narrowly avoids capture by a group of Soviet agents led by the ruthless Irina Spalko. I think that's how you say it. Sorry, all these names are very hard. Years later, in 1957, Indy is approached by Mutt Williams, a young rebel with a motorcycle who seeks his help in finding his mother and an old friend of Indy's, Professor Harold Oxley. Together they possess a mysterious crystal skull that may hold immense power. Indy and Mutt embark on a perilous journey to Peru, where they locate the mentally unstable Professor Oxley, who has become obsessed with the crystal skull of Akator. Through Oxley's ramblings and visions, they learn that the skull is connected to a legendary city known as Akator or El Dorado, said to be a source of extraordinary knowledge and power. Upon reaching the hidden city of Akator in the Amazon rainforest, Indy, Mutt, and Oxley encounter a tribe of indigenous people who guard the secrets of the crystal skull. The city itself is revealed to be a remnant of an ancient extraterrestrial civilization, with the crystal skulls serving as artifacts of immense power and knowledge. The film's climactic moments unfold as Indy and his allies confront Irina Spalko and her Soviet forces within the depths of Akator. The power of the crystal skulls is unleashed, leading to a battle that involves psychic energy, mind control, and the fate of the world hanging in the balance. In the midst of the chaos, Indy and his friends discover that the crystal skulls possess extraterrestrial origins and are linked to a portal to another dimension. This revelation adds a supernatural twist to the Indiana Jones universe, offering a fresh and unexpected element to the story. The film's exhilarating finale showcases the resilience and resourcefulness of our beloved hero as Indy and his allies narrowly escape the collapsing temple and reunite with their loved ones. Ultimately, Indy chooses to preserve the secrets and power of the Crystal Skull of Akator by donating it to a vast government warehouse, echoing the iconic final scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And now in 2023, the 5th Indiana Jones movie will be entering theaters very soon as of the production of this video. And this one features Indiana Jones retrieving a legendary dial that can change the course of history. Anyways, that's it for this video, and if you enjoyed it, then please like the video and subscribe to TSI. Oh hey, it's me again. Feel free to click on these videos recapping all of the Transformers movies and this one here recapping the entire Fast and Furious franchise. Alright, see ya.